Hello, my name is Professor Stuart Malawer. I'm at the George Mason University in Virginia. I've written a number of articles for your International Law Institute from 2017 through this year, 2024, on President Trump's and then President Biden's tariff actions. But what I'd like to do for a few minutes today is go over the historical aspects of U.S. Tariff policy. It's not really that well known, but it's so very important. Many people say, and I think it's true, that there have been three historic periods of tariff policies in the United States. One from the Revolutionary War, 1776, until the U.S. Civil War, 1861. That period of time, tariffs were used almost solely, primarily for raising revenues. There were no federal income taxes at that time, so that was the only means that the federal government could raise money to support itself. After the Civil War, second period, from the end of the Civil War to I would say the midst of the 1930s Great Depression, U.S. tariffs were used primarily to protect U.S. industry. After World War II, from 1945 until President Trump's election and being sworn in 2018, tariffs were used in the sense of there was a realization that tariffs ought to be reduced as much as possible to promote global trade. And indeed, that was the case. In fact, U.S. trade policy started along those lines bilaterally during the Depression before the end of World War II. Subsequently, on a multilateral basis, through the GATT, through the WTO, the tariff policy of the United States and most other developed countries was that they ought to be lowered to encourage global trade. And that is indeed what happened. Now, when President Trump came into office 2018, what we've had was really a historical change. And I would say that is really now, I would say, entering into the fourth period of U.S. tariff policy. There's a talk of national security, talk of protecting U.S. industries, and mostly there was a talk that we had to do this, the government had to do this in response to factors, changes in geopolitics. My expectation, I guess my hope, was that President Biden, when he came in subsequently in 2022, he would revert back to more of the traditional U.S. trade policy and tariff policy. That did not happen. So where are we today? Simply put, we are in a new era of U.S. trade and tariff policies under President Trump, under President Biden. There's some differences between them. I would suggest that President Biden is a little bit more measured, but the bottom line is both presidents focused on national security concerns and as a reaction to geopolitical considerations. So again, where are we today? Well, we're in the midst of an election in the United States, and there's a consensus, and I would say both parties, that the policies towards tariffs should continue as they are now, with more of a focus on national security, with a focus on protecting strategic industries and building them up, such as the chip industry. So where do we go from here? Well, I think where we're going to go from here in terms of U.S. trade policy and tariff policy is that they will be a reaction to geopolitics. And that, of course, is unclear where things are going. All I can say is it's unclear. There are a few things that are clear. One is that the focus of U.S. trade and tariff policies within the context of geopolitical considerations is focusing more and more on China, but also as well as other countries. So I hope this historical journey, if you like, helps you to understand more where the U.S. trade policy, tariff policy comes from historically and where we are today. Thank you very much.